Good morning and welcome to episode 106 with me, Andrew Reid from Resilient Business Systems, and
me, Adam Walker from Hubspoke Media. I've been on my own this week, so I've finally got people. Adam's been on holiday. And Alina was unwell, but you're feeling better now, aren't you?
Oh, well done. Welcome back.
We're getting thumbs up off camera.
Excellent. So were you just in your office on your own?
I was yesterday. Alina had a day flying solo the other day because I had some things like online training and bits and bobs to do. What else was it? I can't remember. This week has been a bit of a blur from being honest. Yeah, it has.
I was running around at the top going to see some of the customers, and I noticed you sat not at your desk but at the little round table.
I sat at the little round table for most of yesterday. Yes. It's poor posture. Don't do it. I had a meeting yesterday morning, which was to do like some just some one-to-one training stuff with a client we've been working with. So that was great. So I wasn't fully on my own at that point. But yeah, and then I just sort of stayed at that table for a bit. And then in the afternoon, I think it got 2:00 and I was like, I should probably sit at my desk now. Yeah.
So, I also saw you yesterday morning in the torrential rain loading PCs, and your word, which was hilarious, was, I've just been for a swim and I think I'm more wet now.
Yeah. I went, so I was swimming first thing, check me out, fitting my exercise in, really hard thing to do as a business owner. Because we often prioritise the business instead of ourselves. I'm guilty of that, I can say that hand on heart. And it's making sure I prioritise it. Yeah, but I came out of the Dolphin Centre and oh my word.
It was stair-rods, as my mum used to say.
Yep. That's the word I've seen being used. I think it's very appropriate.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And we were loading very expensive computers.
I know. So what confused me is you had a cardboard box on the floor, which I can only assume was empty.
Yes, it was.
That was not under the umbrellas.
No.
It was just in the middle of the car park. But
it was fun.
It was like something being done on the black market with computer gear. You had a boot full of gear being transferred around. Yeah. Obviously, you were trying to sort it out. Was that a delivery job?
That was a delivery for IAS Medical, more PCs. The two guys, Eddie and Dan, were off to Sunderland to install a brand new router for a customer, and then they went over to Nectar, which is the IAS Medical Ambulance Centre in Newcastle, and dropped off some big PCs for them there and brought Rico back. I also had the lovely Andy Davis from Trident Manor knock on the door this morning. He wanted to ask me a question. He knocked on the door. I let him in. His first words, I can't repeat the first two, but his first words were, and how much more hardware can you fit in this office? Because obviously what we're doing is we're getting a lot of the Windows 10 hardware back in to repurpose because it can't be used for Windows 11. However, I would like to say for one of my other customers, which is RSACC, who are a charity that I support in Darlington, I have just made them very, very happy. I've donated almost 15 laptops running Zorin for them, and they are over the moon.
That is fantastic. Well done. Good work.
Yeah, repurposing this software.
So if you've got hardware, some machines, for example, Windows 10 in this case, which are no longer supported by Windows, someone in the comments might go, there is an additional window now, which wasn't a year. And you can, but it's a year, but you just haven't, if you're running a business, you need to sort it, you just have to sort it out.
You can't run it because
they've given a little grace period, but so if you've got those machines, they could be repurposed and, like you say, donate to charities. That's fantastic.
Very good, but I've still got another 20 odd. I'm like,
have you? Just full of computers.
Full of computers, so it's a little bit of a slalom to get to our desks. There is so much hardware. It's good. We are now seeing the back end of the thing. We've only got 4 more machines to do, and that's it completely done. But it will allow us to now catch up on some additional work. Not that I want to spoil. What are you doing for the weekend? Working. So we're in here tomorrow, we need to clear the decks again.
Mr. Coleman's coming in here tomorrow. He's been on holiday this week, but he's like, I'm going to come in on the weekend because me and Alina are out photographing later today.
Right.
And that's going to take us up until 5 o'clock, fully booked. So it's graduation photography today.
Lovely.
I'm fully booked all the way up till 5. So by the time we finish that, when's Alina going to get to edit it?
Exactly.
This, that and the other. So Adam's very kindly said, I'm going to come in over the weekend to do that.
To do the catch up.
So there we go.
I'll tell you what, I might nip down and have a coffee, and then we'll do a little video and do Saturday work.
You could also check he's here for me.
The manic boss.
Yes. But what have I been doing this week? So this week I've actually delivered some training. and I'm going to come back to some of the content on that because it got me thinking about some of the ideas this week.
Are you still talking to Mr. Copilot?
I am indeed.
Good man.
And I've also had a very good idea for a video which I will share in due course.
In due course. Keeping us on tender hooks.
Well, actually, no, I'm just going to do it. So this is, I suppose, let's share the process a little bit, right? I'm just checking my diary, by the way, to see what I've actually done this week because it just sort of all blends into one. I've been doing communications planning, meetings, training. What else? Sponsorship work. So we're supporting a client with some sponsorship work, preparing their packages, and then working up to the approach of the people who may want to sponsor and this, that, and the other. So it's been an interesting week, actually.
Good.
But yeah, the idea, so I'm sat there yesterday and I'm thinking, and often we are, in terms of a marketing business, you've got to be creative in terms of what you're coming up with half the time.
Yes.
Some of it is marketing, one thing is having a strategy to deliver against, and that's very much... can be put in an Excel sheet, shall we say. It can be, very much executed, but sometimes it's the actual communication of your ideas that is the challenge, and you've got to be quite creative in this role. Some people might see some social media content as gimmicky. Yeah. So the AI toy model, what were they called? Anyway, the blister pack toys model, make myself into a blister pack toy that happened earlier this year.
Gone now.
You could, gone now. No one's doing that. Nope. But you could see it as a gimmick. Yeah. And it was interesting. We all remember it. Could you remember any one in particular blister pack toy that anyone else shared? If you did one yourself, you'll usually remember your own. Yeah. But I've decided, and I'm going to share this with you and everyone else. So I don't mind putting my head up above the parapet. Above the parapet, yeah. So idea is I'm going to create a video. And we're going to create another Adam. Oh. We need a third Adam, Alina. Sorry. AI Adam. AI Adam. The idea of the video, and this is what I'll come up with, is, and we'll be shooting this next week, so Alina, be ready. AI Adam is going to be essentially me dressed slightly differently. Yeah. And it's going to be filmed in front of our photography thing. And the idea is we're going to film it, but then superimpose it onto a phone screen. Okay, so we superimpose it onto a phone screen, and then other Adam Coleman, he will be talking to AI. So we're going to lead the video up. This is like our skit video for the month. We're going to lead the video up. So it's going to be like, I'm going to say to him, Adam, have you really lent into using our new AI agent? Obviously, I'm not going to say it's Copilot because it isn't. New AI, what have you done it with? And then I'm going to then pose as this AI agent and suggest really silly things that AI sometimes, or did in the early days at least, recommend. Do you remember way back in the 80s, Max Headroom? Yes. Can you dress up like him, please? Max Headroom. So, it's like coming up with those, and the idea is, we can draw the reason why we're doing it, and this is where people are probably thinking, why though, Adam? Yeah. People keep telling us we're going to be replaced with AI. No, what was the thing that we said last week? Exactly. The people that use AI smarter will replace you. So it's kind of to draw on that narrative that we're hearing, if that makes sense. Or I don't need a marketing company. I'm just going to use AI. And we're going to be silly with the ideas that the AI puts forward. Yeah. Fake AI puts forward. But kind of to draw a narrative on, maybe you shouldn't just solely trust AI. And I used AI the other day I was doing some training, and I just said, create 5 social media posts for a fictional company name. Could call it the fictional company. The AI invented a website, address, in the posts that didn't exist. I didn't tell them it was fictional. I was just maybe using the word fictional is the wrong example. I called it. It is called The Thing. Yeah. It created a website address just out of random. It created a competition. Didn't say run a competition. It just went win our competition. It had spelling mistakes in it. It was using random hashtags. So it's kind of like drawing on that kind of don't just accept it at face value. It's all in the prompt with AI. I'm not going to pretend that AI can't help you. It really can. No, but was your prompt fairly short? Yeah, it's deliberately. Very deliberately.
Exactly.
So yes, I'm going to do something like that in terms of video and drawing.
I had a little battle with AI Copilot today, this week. I won't tell you what the full thing, but basically I was feeding it some information and I was asking it to do it. It was quite a laborious job. So it was quite a long text file that I fed it. And I basically said, look at this text file, analyze it. It will be, and giving it examples. So my prompt was quite lengthy, and it basically came back, and its first attempt was diabolical. And it got to the point where I went, no, kept on going back. Towards, I said, add versioning to your logic, because I want to start to rib you. And what was quite funny that turned into a laugh is that Copilot then came back and went, you're absolutely right to rib me, Andy, because if this doesn't work, we can, you can do it, and please do it with all your might. So as I got more jokey with it, it got more jokey with me. We got to version 14 and it still hadn't got it right. And what was really frustrating is that I kept referring back to something that I told it to do. So I basically said, listen, what you missed is this. Please, can you take this and convert it to this? And it missed it 3 times. Yeah, basically it was doing no. And I kept asking it and going, listen, why are you ignoring what I'm saying? And it was very apologetic. And it was just going, I didn't realize my logic that I'm using or my program in the background is misunderstanding me. Now, what I thought was, I was like, so I'm instructing you, but you're actually using some agents in the background and they're misunderstanding. So it was almost like a prompt of a prompt that was wrong. In the end, I had to say, give up, and it apologized to me.
Yeah, well, I had it apologize to me because I did, I was using it as an example with somebody, and I was using the talk mode, you know, when you can have a conversation. And I put Hubspoke Media in, and it was like, Hubspoke Media is a small business with a small team. And I went, whoa, what's this small? That's really offensive. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was like, it isn't sorry, it doesn't feel emotions. But do you? Yeah, if you listen to me, please. Like Kane said, keep me as a pet if you do take over. But it is a challenge. And part of my point was, it's often telling you, I think, at the moment, sometimes it's often telling you what you ask. You know, if I hold up my pair of glasses and say, tell me what's good about these pair of glasses, it won't freely tell me what's bad about the pair of glasses. It'll only look for
positives.
Things, which is human nature anyway, right? But if I said critique these glasses,
that's different.
That's a different prompt. So there's a whole host on that. So
anyway,
on Nuance, this week as part of my training, and I was doing some training last week as well, but I wanted to talk today, and we've touched on it in the past, but what about when things don't go so well?
There's a good point.
Yeah, so we have talked about it in the past. You I think a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned about, a project didn't go to plan. You apologised. You'd worked within your best best way of dealing with it in terms of there's nothing. The truth of the matter is things don't go to plan.
No, they don't.
Things don't go to plan with a small business, and actually, and I think I said this last week. Sometimes the worst, you can have a bad experience with a customer. Say someone didn't pay you, or they paid extremely late, or they didn't treat you, feel you didn't. Obviously, it's subjective. It's subjective to the in terms of what that person thinks. So you might feel that you weren't treated very well. You might feel, that the client wasn't just very nice towards you, or worked, helped you to have what you need to succeed and deliver their work. So, because especially in professional services, it is a trusted partnership type scenario where you need that partnership.
Yeah.
But if the trust isn't there, that becomes a bit of a problem. So I was saying that some of those bad experiences, that's your best teaching.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Either minimise the chance of it happening again. But if it's things like late payments or no payment, which I've had happen, to stop that happening again in the future. Because if someone commissions work, then doesn't pay you for it, it can put your cash flow under pressure if you've had to make expenditure decisions based on that contract. So an example of that, simple example is take money up front that covers the cost of what you're doing. There's a lesson, business owners, because that's really important because you're having to mitigate the risk to yourself. Not that you'd go into the contract expecting risk. However, it can become a problem. So you need to create like your policies and procedures in place to do that. So how did I come up with that? Well, experience and dealing with a negative sort of scenario. And I don't mean negative by just the individual.
No.
It could be, like we were working on a project yesterday and we are months into it and a new feature requirement popped up that we had not had on the radar on either side. It was just when I was delivering the training, it was like, oh wait, we also do this. I was like, wait, what?
Where did that come from?
Yeah. And it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Because I actually resolved that within, or resolved half of it within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like sorting that out. But that comes from experience, right? So thinking back to when things haven't gone so well, I think let's keep it very anonymous, of course. And things can go not well for a number of reasons. One could be, I'll share one. You've had it where you and the client are like, this is what we're going to do. And then, I talk about lighthouses, and especially when you're working with business owners, the focus might then, something else might happen, which takes that client's attention away from our case, investing in their marketing, delivering their marketing, or actually delivering the service they were going to deliver. So we've had it where we're commissioned, we're working, we're doing stuff, we're working on the projects that we're working on or supporting on marketing, but then those projects have dried up.
Yeah.
Not through the fault of ourselves, not through the fault of the client actually, but the pipeline of work that was agreed hasn't came out that way, and they've ended up doing something else. So what do we call that? Shift, I suppose. Contract shift. Shift in focus, so one example can be, and I wouldn't say it's a negative, it's a challenging experience is what I'd say. So you've got that shift in focus, and then it's a question of what do you do? So my philosophy is meet with them face to face and go, right, what can we do to sort this, to help, because if we're commissioned to deliver a service and that bit is not being done anymore, what's the other bit? And are we prepared to do that? Are we prepared in terms of a marketing sense? I got the information there. Are they prepared to talk about that instead? And sometimes that answer can be no.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so let's say you're a window cleaner and you're going to branch. You're a window cleaner, you got a load of window cleaning jobs, and then I saw someone who was cleaning, roofs?
Yeah.
Like taking the moss off roofs. And then suddenly they go, right, the window cleaning work's dried up. We've got Barry the window cleaner as the website, but now we will do windows in the future if it comes up, but actually all of our focus is shifted to roofs. So then you've got a brand called Barry the window cleaner, who's actually a roof cleaner.
Yeah.
So it's like, what can you do to do that? And that might sound very convoluted and obvious, but honestly, in my experience, this sort of thing has happened. So you need to make sure that you can go back to the window cleaning, but then you've got to, I'm like, we can't really just sell, do we just sell your roof cleaning under the window cleaning brand? Do you need an extra tab on the website? Because you don't talk about roof cleaning anywhere. So I'm like, how can we really promote your roof cleaning, but you've got no information on your website about it?
What's interesting about that, mate, is that I was telling Michelle about how you sprang on me last week about we'll focus on resilient. The thing that we've agreed, we discussed effectively, we think the reason we've been in business for 20 years is that we, hopefully, listen to customers' demands, but the point I'm getting at is we diversify. We go with what we feel. So we started off, I look after IT. Now, I don't look after IT, Adam. You know what I do. I cover the breadth of...
Turn it on and off again. Thank you.
Stop it. You're ruining it for me. But we've diversified because we've listened to either what customers' demands are, or what you're talking about there is we've come into a situation where maybe the client and us have not been the bad person, but we've employed a third-party supplier, like a broadband provider, just, off the top of my head.
That can bring challenges.
And it brings challenges because I'm outside of that control of the broadband. I can't shout at the broadband provider. The customer can shout at, but he's not technically understanding, bless him, the reason. So there's this three-way, and then, I'm speaking openly, the project has failed quite badly. Both me and the customer have felt aggrieved, but none of us have been at fault, but we've both felt, that's a shame.
So I suppose on my thing is you've got a focus shift or a service shift. On yours, you're talking you're talking about probably like structure.
Yeah, well, it's third-party influences that we cannot control.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that they are coming in and stomping all over people's work. Sometimes it's just, this is the way you need to do this. Yeah. Like it could be a set parameter on how you need to work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've seen that one. So how do you manage those situations?
So what we did was that we then decided that we would become a broadband provider. And therefore, that made that the customer had me to talk to. And I effectively took away the communication with this supplier that in the end was only talking to the end provider, because obviously these people are just resellers, just like I am. But what was better is that when I'm ringing this company with a broadband fault, and I'm not knocking anybody in broadband, but their diagnosis was if they were talking to an end client. And I'm going, I've done all of that.
Yes, you've already done their step, I suppose.
Absolutely. So what was very frustrating in this particular scenario that I was talking about is this provider was like, can you do this? Can you do this? And even though, I'm very much of the ilk, I don't shout at this person. It's not their fault. They're only asking me to follow steps. But I was genuinely getting slightly frustrated when I went, can I just tell you, I work in IT. I've done every step that you're about to tell me. So why don't we save ourselves some time and jump? But this person was like, I'm really sorry, I have to follow all the steps.
Yeah, probably because they've got a system of work.
And I said, listen, I understand. So even though it's frustrating for me, all the way to the end, but I said, we'll end up just passing me the second line. I said, I'll save you a load of, no, I'm really sorry, I've got to follow. 15 minutes of this person telling me, and I'm going, I've done that. Right, so, okay, we've done all those steps, I'll pass you through the second line. And I was just like, but why couldn't you have done that? So that frustration, what I then did was I looked and I circumvented that provider, reseller, and I went to the actual provider. I approached them and I went, look, I would like to provide broadband, but one of my conditions is when I ring up for a fault, I don't want a first line person.
Yeah, you need to be the next.
I need to be the next person in the line because I've already done everything you're going to tell me. And God bless, this provider said, okay, I understand you work in IT. So when I ring up, the guy, even though, or the support person, they won't instantly assume, but what he'll do with me is he'll go, okay, hi Andy, right, have you done the usual? He says, you know what I'm like? And I said, hey, listen, I may have missed something. So he'll run through, have you done this? Have you turned it on and off again?
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah,
people laugh at that, but actually it really does work.
It does work. But have you done this? Have you turned it on and off? It's not DNS. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? I went, oh, do you know what? Hang on. Let me try. No, it's not that. So, right, it must be a fault then, Andy. Okay, fine, we'll escalate it.
Yeah.
But that has saved so much time when I'm talking to my customer. And again, it's about this trusted partnership.
You're actually describing my kind of own interaction with my own internet provider, because I do all of those steps. Yes. And I ring up going, I've done all of these things. I am telling, because we've got mobile, so it's transmitted, 4G, transmitted. Really good.
Yeah.
Like, really impressed with it. But at times, I mean, we can get power cuts. Yeah. So we can have a power cut. It takes, if the mast has a power cut, sometimes it doesn't click back onto the network.
Yeah.
Straight away. And sometimes I've had to wait. And I've got to go through like that. Have you restarted your router? Yes. Have you powered down the receiver? Have you repowered it up? Have you checked? I'm like, I've checked all the things.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm pinging stuff and it's not pinging. I'm like, listen, my router's saying, because part of the issue on mine, because they'd actually ring me. Here's an example. Sorry, I'm ranting. They'd ring me and go, is there a green light on the internet icon sort of thing, or what looks like an internet icon? And I'm like, yes, but there's no internet. And I'm like, that green light and that symbol is wrong because it's connected. It's telling me it's connected to the mast.
Now, what's interesting?
It's not telling me it's connected to the internet. And I know it. And I'm going, it's green, but there's no internet. It's connected to the mast. There's no internet at the mast. Sorry.
Rant off.
But I understand. See,
I had that this week, my friend. I had that this week saying my computer is offline, but I'm connected to the Wi-Fi. And I'm going, all you're doing is you've connected to the router. The Wi-Fi.
Yeah, your network.
Your network. Your laptop is talking and connected. Imagine a piece of string and you can put it from your laptop to that. I said, what isn't happening is you're not connecting to the internet. And again, bless the
like
customer.
your front door is locked.
The customer was like, oh, I get it. So even though I'm connected to my router and I can see my router, the router can't see the internet. And I'm like, absolutely.
That's the one.
And I utilized my old analogy that I said, if you're working on the internet, you're pinging. When you are getting these customers to do, look, what are you doing? Like, why? What are you pinging? I'm like, I'm pinging the router. Can your machine, what's ping? It's like a submarine echo, blah, blah, blah. And it's always a case of when you type in BBC, your laptop goes, I don't know who the BBC is, but I know a man who does, and that's the router. The router doesn't know who BBC is. He says, well, I don't know, but I know a man who does, and that's what's called the DNS, which is your Google. And Google goes, I know what that is. And that's what, but what I find is explaining all of this to the customer, even though it may take a lot longer, they actually thank me for that because you've enriched their knowledge and they're going, oh, I get it. So back to the scenario, what you were saying, my customer loves me now because I communicate with them. And even though they may still be down, what they're not doing, what we are not doing collectively, is waiting for the first line. And again, I'm not knocking them.
Yeah.
We're not waiting for the first line.
You're becoming the first line.
I'm becoming the first line, and I'm speaking directly to the second line, and I'm, what's the word, expediting the issue?
Yeah.
So the customer's happier with me, let's say, instead of a 5-hour outage, he's only got a 2-hour outage because I've helped diagnose from the technical point of view. The engineer's going, yeah, must be a fault, Andy. Right, we'll get straight on it. Whereas before, I'd have to speak to the first line. 15. I've already done.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I ranted. So there's two. One could be structure in terms of like the I don't know, supplier structure or contract structure or whatever structure in terms of, you know, you could have other contracts involved. It could just be the systems that people use. You can only use them in certain ways. So you can have a plan where you're going to go, we're going to do this, but actually the system doesn't allow you to do it in that way. Yeah. So then you've got to change. So you've got to bring about those changes. That's a really good example though, where because you were going around the houses a bit, you've then gone, right, how do I become that first line? And then, because I was doing it anyway, I can then go direct source. So that's a really good example. Okay, so we've got negative sort of challenges with structure, challenges with sort of contract shift. Some of the other challenges, attention's a big one that we struggle with a lot in terms of there's a lot of moving parts for businesses and organizations, but also lead time.
Yeah.
So lead time in terms of, like, we've got Black Friday stuff about, I mean, a lot of the big ones are putting their it's not Black Friday for another 2 weeks. We've got our Black Friday campaign pretty much sorted. We had it agreed 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
In terms of what are we doing for the client, and we have been taking time to prepare that collateral in terms of marketing materials and this, that, and the other to then promote that Black Friday offer. The same client, which will remain nameless, love the client, they're brilliant, but I said, what about Black Friday looking to do? No, and then on the morning of Black Friday, we want to do it. That puts you, like, so, and then you could go, well, how many Black Friday deals did we do? Did we do any Black Friday deals? What was the deal? Like, there's so many different questions, and sometimes what can that can do is end up going, from going, we're not doing Black Friday to we are on the day. And in fairness, the client goes, I asked you on the morning, and that's not how we do it, really, is it?
Let me ask you an interesting question, though. In your early part of your business, if I'd have turned around to you on Black Friday and said, I'm sorry, Adam, I want to do Black Friday, you would have done anything to do the Black Friday because of what you wanted to deliver to me to help. Yeah. Let's have the scenario that our rare bookshop.
Yeah.
I want you to do
fictional rare bookshop. For those
fictional
who don't
rare
know.
bookshop.
Yeah.
It's Black Friday. You've emailed me 3 or 4 times saying, do you want to do something? And I go, no, I don't. Okay? On the morning of Black Friday, I've woken up and gone, Right, Adam, can we do a Black Friday deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, typical Andy. Yeah. You're smiling at me, but you're going, typical Andy.
Yeah.
Now, one scenario is you go and do anything you can to provide me with a Black Friday deal, and it goes disastrously bad. I got no sales out of it. No, imagine the scenario now that I'm ringing up and going, that was terrible. I'm not paying for it.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's
who's at fault?
There's a couple of problems here, right?
Yeah.
So, well, who's at fault?
Andy,
you, because when we're doing events marketing, I say, and people might disagree, and that's fine, but I say I need 3 months as a minimum.
Yeah,
and people will go, what? And I'm like, believe me, I've ran conferences with an engaged membership of people that will be coming to it, but to get them to actually book their
Correct.
tickets. By the way, it was included in their membership,
Yeah.
so they didn't have to transact any money.
Nope.
They just had to book essentially what was a free ticket, and that was it. To get people to do that was the hardest action ever. So, and we'd be having huge conferences, and to get people to take action, even just to book a free ticket for the thing that they are going to be at.
Yeah.
Like, the majority of those people were going to be there. They just wouldn't book it there and then. So I'd try, I'd put in like different email strategies in terms of going, right, here's the event. When am I going to contact?
Yeah.
What are my trigger points to go book your place, book your place, book your place? How do I say book your place in a different way?
Yeah.
So they might actually book the place instead of just delete the email. That's a massive chance. So, but it's the same with any sort of Black Friday situation. It's the same with any, Gymshark at the moment are advertising their Black Friday deal. They're saying something really good. Load up your basket now.
Yeah.
So it's not Black Friday yet, but go on the website and load your basket up now.
In readiness.
And because it's like a store-wide discount. T's and C's apply, please check. But that's a really good bit of marketing, because I might forget in a few weeks because I get into the Christmas shopping perhaps and all of this. They're going, we'll play for that attention now. So go fill your basket now, leave it sat there, or save your basket, whatever the feature they have.
Yeah.
And then it'll roll over. And I'm like, wow, it's in the customer's interest. Wow, it's really strong marketing.
Why are they selling sharks?
It's a clothing brand.
Okay.
For those that don't know.
I didn't know.
From a guy that...
I'll have a great white, I'll have an orca.
Yeah, from a young lad at the time when he started up in his garage.
Well, goodness
at home,
me.
printing shirts with a printing press.
Wow.
And now they are international, worldwide, one of the biggest fitness brands in the world.
Good for him.
It's an incredible story.
Good.
So if you ever want to look at like what someone achieved, like have a look at that, for example.
Okay. So go back to my thing. I'm not paying you.
Yeah, no.
So what are you going to do?
So the lesson first, the thing is, right, so that to do the campaign, if it was already in a contract of work, you agree. What I've learned in this job is I need to say, if I can do it, so let's say I can do it, I need to say, right, I'll get something sorted last minute. However, I don't feel that this will have had this. I can't
guarantee.
Well, you can never guarantee. But
what I'm getting at is you're setting the expectation.
Yeah,
because I was going to come back to you and say the other scenario is I phoned you up on that day. What you should have done as an expert, Adam, is say, I'm not sure this is the right thing to do. We're running at it blind. What will end up happening is you may not get the expectancy of these sales, and therefore I think it will be bad, and we will end up together having a bad experience.
So my first question actually is always, what's your terms and conditions?
Correct.
That's the first. Like
we learn that.
Like you want me to go and say we're offering 20% off.
Yeah.
Tell me your terms of engagement. Is it only 20% if it's the bookshop? 20% off paperback books, hardback books, all books, children's books.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah, criminology books. I don't know. Like, you get the idea. So tell me what's your purchasing window?
Yeah.
Is it in store only? Is it, you tell me your terms of engagement, and then they'll forget. Oh, okay, yeah, right. And because you got to think.
You've hit the nail on the head. What I've learned in business is I've got the experiences, and we know where I've had that scenario, not a Black Friday deal, but I've had that scenario where I've told them I want before, and they've ended up not, no, yes, I want it. And I've attempted to deliver the project, and I put myself under severe pressure. I failed, and then the customer's blaming me.
Yep.
So I've taken that on the chin because I've now learned. What I'm doing now is what you've just said. I go, yeah, not a problem at all. So reverse it. It's now your rare bookshop. You're ringing me up on the morning. You've done exactly what I do. I start to ask questions that, not that it puts doubt in your mind, but it makes you think and realise and go, actually, I'm too late, aren't I? But by being honest and open, by talking, that relieves the pressure.
Last year, I got stuff out for Black Friday. Now, would my Friday have been more enjoyable last year? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did we have all the campaign resources I probably would have wanted to? No. But what I've learned is you need to communicate that to the client.
Yeah, and it's not about saying no, because you could have said, oh, sorry, Adam, no, I can't do it.
The thing is, if I was like doing training or tied in, like I'm photographing all afternoon today, I'm like, what? When do you expect me to do this?
Yes.
Like, I can't. And you could say, well, the weekend I'm your client. And it's like, well, no, I did ask you like a month ago sort of thing. So I think it's kind of like it's when deadlines are pushed onto you that are not necessarily your deadlines that you've set yourself.
When you were talking about 20 years in resilience last week, my mentor at the time always left me with a very interesting saying. If you take the responsibility last minute, and the project goes wrong, I don't know whether it's as a cliche, but you're left holding the baby. Mm-hmm. And you're the one that's at fault. Even though, logically, if you look back at everything, I want it now. Please deliver this. Please do that. Are you sure you don't want it? Are you sure you don't want it? Oh, my God, you've left me with the last minute. You're left holding the baby. At the end of the day,
Well, I've got a good... It's not relating to this example.
Right.
So I'm not talking about this example.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, imagine that client, they're still with us. Imagine that, and we've
left him. I don't use him
and
anymore.
we've planned the Black Friday.
Yeah.
It's great. We're doing fantastic work. But what I'd say is, imagine he could have took a different route. Goes to another marketing company, went, well, I tried to do Black Friday last year, it didn't even work. Forgetting the fact that it was a lot, I only told them on the day. So sometimes you're right about being left holding the baby. It's like, well, we did Black Friday and it didn't really do anything.
No.
Or we did Black Friday and it was, it's like, if you haven't being given a fair go is like the most important thing in this game. Like, I always ask people, like, you need to give us a fair chance to succeed.
Honestly, mate, I couldn't agree more. The other example he gave me is that imagine that we've got a vase in the middle of the room, and the idea is to make this vase better, paint it or whatever. And he went, "You've been asking me all the things to make this vase better because you're the painter, and I cannot make this better at all in any way, shape, or form. So I'm hiring you to do it." Right at the last minute, I take a hammer because I'm so frustrated and I smash the vase and then I hand the hammer to you and then the boss walks in. Mm-hmm. You're left holding the hammer. I'm the one that smashed it up. But again, left holding the baby, left holding the hammer. That's what he said is, it is so difficult to say no to that customer, but you have to ask questions. You have to make them realise that it's like, actually, will this work? You think about it. Obviously, it takes time for me, If I was asking you to do this, would you do it immediately? Now, obviously, you're going to get some client. Well, yes, I would have done it. Well, that's fine. But you're right. Going back to your point, by asking me questions, maybe it's not a good idea.
I can't dive into this thing without knowing.
Correct.
Like, and when, especially with marketing, we're looking at it from so I'm trying to think about Joe Blogs or Sally Blogs, who lands on the website or picks up a leaflet or sees a billboard. I'm trying to go, what questions have they got?
Yeah.
And usually if you just ask yourself, what's the catch? What's the requirement? What can't I do? And it's kind of, can I do this? Can I do that? It's those sort of questions, especially when it comes to offers and promotions. You need to sort of figure that out. And also people will look at your work and go, okay, well, I've just signed a contract with you last week. Can I now have the Black Friday deal?
Yes.
You know, and it's like understanding that as well. So there's like a whole host of stuff where you kind of need to understand your terms of engagement and me as the marketing person would need to establish that. So I suppose your clients making their deadlines your deadlines, like putting
that's a good one.
I also call it, the other thing I happens less and less now, and I've not used the word in a while, is being ASAP'd.
Yes. I like this.
You get ASAP'd a lot.
I get ASAP'd a lot. Oddly enough, it's by you. That's a lie, by the way. But it made you think, didn't it?
Yeah, I was like, but it's like, I need this as soon as possible. And sometimes I've had this happen. Like Black Friday could be an ASAP, because it is Black Friday, you know, but being ASAP'd. So one client in particular.
It's resilient, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
Oh.
Like, I've worked with them for years, and on and off. Like, we're not engaged with them regularly, but I'll often get it. Every communication always had an ASAP on it. Yeah, like everything always had an ASAP. You know, but being ASAP, when you're being ASAP'd, I think it's in the early days you're just grateful for the business, and you'll like go running.
Yes, you will.
You'll go running in any direction to help your client, and it's not that you don't help your client; you absolutely do.
But I think it's helping yourself as well, though, man.
Yeah, I think the key phrase to remember with ASAP is "as possible."
Yes.
So, you know, whereas in the early days you probably just look at as soon. You need to look at the as possible.
So back to your scenario where you started all of this. The other thing that I've often found now that I do a lot is we'll have a communication.
Yep.
You'll work on something that I need to deliver for you. I will put back in writing. I will need this from you. Thanks for your information. Thanks for that discussion. As agreed, we will deliver this by this. In order to do this, actions are for you to deliver by. And what that does is it does not that you ever wanted to get into a situation where me and you are arguing about missed deliveries or whatever.
It's just a central record.
It's a central record. But to be fair, Adam, that email that I told you, I said I needed that information by this date. You going, yes, but I didn't have the time. But I went, so it just allows you. You've got to. And also, on all of my quotes now, when I go and visit somebody, I do an IT audit, I give down all the things. I go, this quotation is based upon the information above. If any of that information is missing, please let me know and I will requote. Otherwise, this is as it stands. Yep. You know, and again, it could be that, you know, where did that come from? Here's another 5 PCs I want you to. Where did they come from? Well, I'm really sorry, the price is going up now.
That sort of stuff happened to me a lot in the early days. Yeah. But what about this? And I remember sitting there. This is one of my first, early days. I remember I learned some very big lessons. I remember sitting there. So I'd be like, right, they'd go, we need to do ABC. So I've run off, started doing ABC, put as much effort in as possible, came back and went, here you go, look at ABC. Looks at ABC. And he went, what about D, E, and F?
Aha.
And I went, D, E, and F. Okay, right. And this is where brand new business owner Adam goes, okay, we didn't talk about those, but I'll get them sorted.
Yeah.
Runs away, does D, E, and F. Comes back. Oh, there's a few issues with ABC. Right, okay. Like amendments. Right, go and do ABC, come back. And he goes, right, what about 1, 2, 3?
Aha.
And I'm like, what is going on? Is this what running, so it was literally in the first few months of running this business. And now the flags would have gone off, probably before I took the work, before I took the work on. Honestly,
but you don't
it was
realize
so,
these things.
But when and the other thing is I did A, B, and C, and we'd agreed this contract and money. I then went and did D, E, and F, not for anything else, just as within ABC.
Absolutely.
And then I come back and there's still issue, and then he goes, I want to change this, and then I want to change this, and what about 1, 2? And then I kind of went, I was like, my feeling was they were using, do you know when done is better than perfect, the saying?
Yeah.
Whatever perfect is. But I had a feeling that they were just tweaking, because sometimes what you'll do is you'll keep tweaking things. So what I've tried to get away from in business is making slow decisions. I try and make quick decisions based on the facts that I have available to me, and I'll do some research and do it. But it's very easy to go, oh, I can't possibly talk about my marketing business yet because my logo is not absolutely perfect. Each web page doesn't have word for word exactly the right stuff. I won't do, and you use that as a barrier. And I kind of felt that they were like, yeah, we want to do this. So we need this sorting first. And I just kept getting these amends. And in the end, I started losing sleep over this content, and it's the way they were talking to me. I started losing sleep over it. And in the end, I had to just say, I don't think I'm the guy for you.
Correct. But that is so difficult.
Do you know how hard that felt? That was my first 3 months in business, and it was horrible. It was a horrible experience that I had. It was so horrible.
Yeah, I know.
And I never know what happened to them afterwards, like whether they actually ever got to launch or do what they were doing. I was just trying my best. But
that moulded you, though. It always has.
Yeah, but there's a really good lesson.
And you would never do it again because of those sleepless nights. I call it the hairs on the back of your head. You're like,
horrible.
Whoa, I ain't doing this again.
I'd literally just set up my business. I was all excited, and then I was having to deal with this. And I don't know whether they saw an opportunity. I don't know whether there was an opportunity to take advantage, possibly, or push the luck, or try and get more, or so it was really cheap labour because they were adding like bits and bobs on. You don't know. So I think so there are those things out there, but in the end it took me to be brave and go.
But that is a lesson that young business owners don't feel as though they can say because they're so desperate for the business. I was desperate for any business. I would bend over backwards for my customer, but unless you've got something where you're going, hang on a minute, no, but how to say no,
it's horrible.
It's a horrible thing.
Yeah.
Losing sleep over it. Like, how am I going to say
no?
No?
The first lesson there for me was speaking up, direct communication, like managing that expectation. And I think it's managing your own expectations as well, and make sure that everything's clearly communicated, and sort of looking out for those scenarios. But yeah, that was terrible. I've never actually spoken about that. By the way.
Well, there you go. Do you feel stress relieved?
Yeah. Well, I've buried it deep inside.
Well, there's another interesting one. You were saying last week about he's lost his train of thought. Yeah. Anyway,
you've lost your train of thought.
I've completely lost.
Oh, right, just like that. I thought you were saying that.
You'd said something, and then I was like, "Oh, that's a good point." So as you were talking, but you said something last week that triggered me to go, "Here's another method," but it's completely gone.
Yeah.
So over to you. I'm just going to gaze into space now.
That's fine.
Hello.
So that one is where you are both clearly not on the same page. You're not aligned, as some corporate-y nonsense speak would say. Get around the table. There's a good channel online that I'm not going to share the name because it's kind of censored in the name. But it's kind of like when you're not actually in a partnership. I think is the key thing, especially in the line of work we do. You're not looking for a partnership if you're in a coffee shop and you're serving people coffee. You want to create a nice environment where people...
I'd like a cup of coffee and a pecan pie, please.
Yes. And I go, here they are.
Yeah.
Go and relax over there.
Correct.
That's as far as that goes.
Transaction goes.
Services for us.
Yeah.
You're working with people. You're doing work for them. Doing their bidding. So you often need to do that. So learning to speak up was a really important part of me setting up a business. But also, it's not speak up and stand up for yourself. It's also kind of go, like you were saying, record keeping. Have we got what we agreed written down? And I'd say that's important for everybody. Obviously, contracts, all that sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Have you got all that written down? And, you can then refer back to it and go, well, here's what we think we should do.
You also saying there, refer back to it. You refer back to experiences, bad experiences and good experiences, because you build your business upon those experiences. As I said to you, if I come running to you now with tons of things, you would literally hear all the sirens in your head going off, going, just say no to this. But saying no is very difficult. So what you do is you put it in such a way. But I
do you know what I do? I gotta refer it to Andy. No, I don't do that.
Turn it on and off.
Turn it on and off again. But yeah, it's that. The other lesson I learned actually, and this is referring it to Andy, is when I set up, and I'm working on people's stuff, businessy stuff, marketing their stuff, sorting a website out, this, that, and the other. I ended up getting embroiled into lots of IT issues.
You did?
Straight away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it wasn't like, not only do we need a website, I can't access my email on my computer.
Yeah.
And then I'd be sat there trying to figure out whatever thing there. And I'm like, why am I, like, I'm getting paid, like, to pay, but being fresh in business, you're like, I will do anything. So it's also understanding, and that's where knocking on your door, I was like, Andy, I keep having clients that have got IT issues, which are becoming my issues, which I'm there to do the marketing, not the IT. I need to keep focusing on the marketing. I need to refer you in to go and help them and offer that support.
Very interesting point, because on this theme of what you're talking about today, I've had so many projects that have not failed, let's put it that way, have been complicated with a source that I am not supposed to be dealing with. Like, I could be dealing with you for my website. I want my website. I need to move my domain, Andy. Right? Okay, how does that do my domain? Well, my emails are in there. I don't deal with your emails. I'm a website guy. But that's what you end up doing, because you want to help, but taking ownership of something that is not really your responsibility. I've learned that so many times by going, I'm really sorry, I can't deliver that because of that, and that's not my responsibility.
Well, we have a client now, mutually.
She emailed me the other day.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we need to talk about moving that domain, but she's still struggling getting the emails off Microsoft, so she's asked me to intervene.
There we go. So, but those issues were coming
Your way.
Actually, what they were raised with me.
Yes.
And I said, because I know now, you need an Andy.
Exactly.
And then a few weeks ago, I got an email. Hi, you mentioned I needed an Andy. I think I need an Andy.
Yeah.
And then I went, here's an Andy. Talk to Andy. So now you're dealing with those, you know, it's to do with Office 365 and all this sort of stuff. You're dealing with all of that, and I'm not. And
Correct.
it's because I was focusing on this bit. You're looking after tenancies. It's teams, essentially,
Absolutely.
for want of a better phrase. But essentially, I'm like, Andy's your guy to help you with this.
But how does that make you feel? Because not only have you... it's not that you've offloaded the
It's not
responsibility.
that I've sidestepped it.
No,
It's
because
just
I'm a trusted
you're,
partner.
You're equipped to do it.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, because there was other, you know, it's like, I need a new laptop. I've had clients go, what laptop should I buy? And I can go this, that, and the other. But now I'm just like, speak to Andy.
Yeah.
Because I would be taking... I'd have to go and research what's currently on the market. I'd have to do this. You're buying them daily.
Of course, you're 100%, mate. But what I want to also pick up on is that thing that you were doing. Let's say that our mutual friend that we are talking about, assume that you've said, in order to do the website, the cost is £100, and I've just arbitrarily made that up. Yeah. Suddenly, well, on my emails, for that £100, you've only quoted to do the website. Not to migrate the emails, not to do. So again, that was an important decision for you to go, nope, that's outside of my remit. And that, again, in the early days, what you try and do is you try and please the customers every way you can. And you end up taking responsibility that's not your fault. And the problem is, when the project fails, and this is I'm talking about my experience, even when we are talking openly in front of the customer, but the reason it failed was because of that, and I'm not responsible for that. You were the last person to touch it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going,
I had someone go, we sat down for a social media meeting, and they went, our website's not appearing on Google. And I went, we don't do your website.
Yep.
However, because of, they had some budget, said, would you like me to speak to the web person?
Yeah.
I can talk to, because I can just, rather than me say, these are the questions you need to ask.
Yeah,
so I just had a meeting with the web person. Like, there we go, right? But there was an allocation that I knew we could use to do that, if that makes sense. But I just said, okay, but we don't support your website. This is, and it was someone who's new to the business, and they weren't necessarily to know.
Again, mate, if I can say it, that's 20 years, 9 years of experience talking.
Yeah.
In the early days, you would have probably said, oh, not a problem. Why is it not? Oh, dear me. You'd have taken it on board. Yeah.
But I equally didn't go, website's not my thing. I can't do it. I was like, well, I looked at the budget and gone, right, okay, yeah, I can do that. I've got to put some time in. So I did a bit of I did an audit. I did a look through what, how things are performing and this, that, and the other. And then I got in touch and spoke to the web person.
But that
there
again,
go, right?
It's all about that experience. So going back to what what this topic was, there are certain things that I think every business owner, every business, having the time to sit back and reflect. And me and you have done this numerous times where, I've knocked on your door, you've knocked on my door. And again, without mentioning any names, it's like, what a disaster that was.
And sometimes you're going in to fix things.
Absolutely.
You get approached when things are going. Sometimes you do get approached when things are wrong.
Pear-shaped. You're the one that they depend upon.
Yeah.
But again, left holding the baby. But you also learn, what would I not do again? What would I say? I'm not dealing with them again, but not that type of thing. It's how to recognise and go, be careful. Also, if we can mention it, again, I'm not conscious of the time. Have you got an example where a project that you are dealing with, you are involved with, but you can see it going pear-shaped?
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, having the guts to go, can we have a meeting? I'm not sure this is going right. We are going to miss the deadline. And again, it's that open conversation. I asked you for this information by the end of this week. I still haven't got it. And you're going to now give it to me, and I'm going to miss the deadline.
We've got a project like that at the moment. And it's not because of... I wouldn't even say it's because of anyone's fault. It's just been the nature of the... In order to move the project on, we've had to go through these steps.
Yes.
We've had to have a few more meetings than we anticipated. But in terms of me going, right, well, here's the steps. It's as long as you've got that structure clear in terms of here's what we're going to do and how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Here's the information that we need, and then we need to put that onto, say, a website or whatever, and then we're going to present it back to you. I did a communications plan on Tuesday, and I've sent it off to the corporate check. I still haven't heard anything back. I'm going to just email today to say
in the middle of your photo shoot.
Yes, but I'm going to say you just want to check you have received this because I haven't had anything. And I'm like, because I know that runs into the deadline next week. So there's another one this week where I've done the work. It needs checking and signing off and agreeing by. Yeah. It's been agreed by one party, and I need it agreeing by the other party. And then we go, right, this, in terms of content plan, this is our record, our statement, our agreed comms of what we're going to do, and here's who we're going to, it outlines who we're going to talk to. Is everybody in agreement with that? Exactly. So one party's gone, yes. The other party has now got to check it and go, but that's a bit of a different structure. It will take a bit more time. That all triggers potentially next week.
Yeah, good.
But I need to know if it does.
Yeah, exactly. Just very quickly, and I know I've mentioned this before, it always makes me laugh, specifying a project. So you're asking the customer for a specification. Yeah. And this was a fairly big project in my early days of the company, specifying the project, and then we met a couple of months later working out how the project. And I just remember my colleague at the time who I was working with. It was like you and Liz. It was a third party type thing. Always makes me laugh. He just looked at the two and he went, sometimes people say that they moved the goalposts, and the customer went, yeah. He went, You've not moved the goalpost. You've picked up the ball and gone to another pitch. And it was literally, when you married up the two specifications, it went deliver A. This was deliver Z.
Right.
And again, he used to call it scope creep.
Yeah.
So constantly looking and having the guts to shout and going, whoa. We're moving completely off target, because that conversation, A and Z, was a very, very difficult conversation. Whereas he's, afterwards, reflection, he just said, if I'd have seen it, A, B, C, whoa, stop, we're moving.
Yeah.
We've got time to realign it, but he left it so late. And again, he was only trying to do his best. We were only trying to do our best. But setting that expectations and shouting up about it early enough, again, it's a very hard thing to do because you're trying to please.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I know we focus on the negative side. All of this stuff has helped me run my business better.
Couldn't agree more.
I would rather share this, and it's a value to people running a business, and they have the confidence to then take these things forward. Because since implementing those things, I was talking about sleepless nights with that ABC example. I'm looking like I sat there. That example in the early days, I don't want to go back to that.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back to that. And I think it's really important to, it's about protecting your own mental health with it. Sorry, I hit the microphone. It's about protecting yourself, but protecting your business, your reputation. And in order to do that, you've got, not that you're under attack. The word protect's a bit weird, but not that you're under attack, but you've got to, the reputation that you have is the best thing that you have going.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think you're right. I like that word, protect. You're not protecting your business. What you're doing is you're protecting the end goal result.
Maybe safeguard.
Safeguard the end result.
Yeah. So there we go. But that was it for today. I've quite enjoyed that.
In summary, don't set up your own business.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Do not do it, everybody. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just sit at home.
Why are we still doing it?
Because we love it.
We do. No, we do love it. And
we do love it.
It's interesting and enjoyable, but those difficult conversations, you never go home and go, wow, I'm just going to think about all the good things I did today.
No, I go home and go, wow, where's the whiskey?
Yeah. I finished it.
Yeah,
there we go. So, right, what are you doing the weekend? Working?
Working, yeah, I'm working hellishly flat out at the moment, so that's good. I also understand I'm doing in the next couple of podcast episodes solo.
Yeah, I'm having a real issue with diaries and people wanting me at our usual slot.
Yeah, tell them where to go.
I've got... take a break. I've got 2 school media shoots next week. And then, is it next week? I've got a dignitary coming. We'll just leave it as that I've got to go and photograph. And it's just all falling. All of these things are sort of falling on times when we do the podcast.
Do not worry. You will leave me in the capable hands of Alina and Adam.
Yeah, well,
I've got 2.
Simfly was brilliant. 20,000 views on TikTok.
That is
one of the
good.
reels. And
that's fairly high flying.
Very good. Very good.
But next week we have got 2 Teams podcasts where the person is not here in person.
Is that next week, is it?
That's next week and the week after.
Fantastic.
So you'll be leaving in the capable hands of Alina.
I'm just having a quick look on TikTok. Yeah, 22,300.
But Resilient are not on TikTok, so I'm not getting any of those.
It's all right. 672 likes, 60 comments.
That's very good, though, isn't it?
Never know with TikTok. It's so random at times. But it's very driven around all of the content.
So, even though you're not going to be with me for the next 2 weeks, don't worry. What are you doing for the next 3 weekends?
The 3 weekends, yeah. No, so this weekend, do you know what? It's going to be easy. Easy weekend.
Nice.
No rugby. Possibly DJing tomorrow night, but Miles was working, I'm a fallback. He was like, do you want to DJ on Saturday? I was like, I'd prefer not to.
But if you need me, my friend.
Completely stuck. Yeah. So hopefully that will be covered. Otherwise, I'll be DJing till 1 a.m.
Oh my goodness!
On Saturday night. But I do enjoy it.
Of course
I do enjoy it. But I'm equally.
You do need downtime. You were saying about protecting yourself sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I've got some gym gear arriving.
Very good.
So I'm going to for just some dumbbells.
Yeah.
And a bench and a little rack to put them on so it's tidy and not falling over them. So I've got that to construct this weekend.
And where are you going to put that in your office?
No, in my garage.
Nice. And then
to try and build it into my day.
Yeah, gosh, I know. It's finding it difficult at the moment. I must admit, Michelle said to me this week, I can't wait for the Christmas break because of the Windows 11. It's been very, very, very... no, I wouldn't say stressful, but there's been a lot of pressure to deliver.
Just more moving parts for you.
It really is, and certainly it's pushed us a little bit to the limit. This. So the good news is, well, I know I hate talking about it, but there's not many working weeks left to Christmas now.
There isn't.
There isn't.
No.
We're breaking up on the 19th.
Brilliant.
And therefore, we've just basically said if we can push towards these, and then we're completely switching off.
Yeah.
We will always cover our customers, in the event of emergency, stuff like that. But we're really looking forward to our downtime this year.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Final push towards Christmas. But yeah, this weekend is just going to be quite as simple as possible. We're going to see friends for Sunday lunch on Sunday. Obviously,
very nice.
Sunday.
That's why it's called Sunday lunch.
That's why it's called Sunday lunch. I think I'm ready for the weekend. Can you tell?
I think you are, mate. Can we now crown you the master of the obvious?
Absolutely. I've just looking. So my delivery was meant to come yesterday, and then they're like, "Oh, you're not in," even though I was like, "I've got people." Anyway, so it should be there today. So
all right. Well, listen.
But that's my weekend.
I'm going to miss you for the next 2 weeks.
Yes, I might be here next. I can't remember. If I'm here next week, I'm here.
You'll be here next week. You're here. If not, we'll be fine. But then we'll start.
It is next week.
It is next week. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not going to see you next week. And then we're going to think. What we do need to do is for the 19th, which happens to be on the last Friday.
Yep.
Christmas jumpers.
Oh, yes.
And then I'm going to task. Yes. Alina, are you listening? task for that episode, whatever it is, on the Friday the 19th, can you and Adam pull together some random reels to display on here that will generate content for me and Adam to look at in history of 2025?
Easy done. Yeah, we can do that.
Good. That'd be quite nice, just random, and go, oh, I remember that episode, and then that'd be good.
What we could actually do, Alina, to save you pulling them, is, here we go, using technology. Just plug a laptop in your table and play them from YouTube.
Well, there
we go.
See, take a break.
Brilliant.
Right. Thanks, everybody.
Have
Hope
a good
you have a nice weekend.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.